Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant and welcome to 3304. This is where I take a look at the news and happenings in and around Elite Dangerous. Today we have some before and after screenshots for the planetary changes in Beyond. Frontier answers some player questions, giving some further details on the upcoming changes. And a player makes a very interesting observation about the changes to the galaxy map. The open beta of Chapter 1 of Beyond is now right around the corner. Many people of course are looking forward to all the various different features that are coming, and a good number of those people are very keen to see the new planetary changes. And one of those people is Commander Ambrosia. Recently he took to the forums to put some images up. We can see right here is the original planet, or the current version of Altair 1, and after we've right here got what it looks like in the new Beyond series. We've also got another comparison right here. This is Dark's Hollow as it stands in the game right now, and this is what it looks like in the Beyond series Chapter 1. Some really fantastic changes there, some great captures by Commander Ambrosia. What he did is checked out the images that were in the live stream from Frontier last week that Ed Lewis showed off, and then went out and located the original planets in the current game. So this has given us a great opportunity to see both before and after images. So let's have a look at both of those again, side by side. The original's on the left and the new version is on the right. So plenty of new details there and a dramatic improvement. So what's particularly interesting about this though is that you can see the planet's chemical and geological makeup in the image on the right. As pointed out by Commander Ambrosia in his post, the planet here is made up of both iron and sulfur, which explains the yellowish-greenish colorations. So in addition to being visually improved, they are now more scientifically accurate, and this is exactly what many of us have been calling for planetary improvements for so long have been asking for, so great to finally see it, and really nice work by Frontier there. Now as we know, there's been a bunch of live streams recently from Frontier on the Beyond updates, and there's now a bunch of new information available on the official forums, this time posted by Frontier Community Manager Will Flanagan. Now this essentially takes the form of a Q&A addressing questions that were posted into the chat during the live stream but not directly answered. Now there is a whole load of questions there and it's well worth taking the opportunity to go over and have a look, but right now I want to cover just a few of them right here. What these do is basically clarify a few of the issues that people were uncertain of after the live streams. So here's the first one. How do the changes affect pirates and what's the point in being a pirate? The answer to this: the cost of piracy and smuggling are not increasing substantially, only the murder crime is being boosted. Frontier then go on to say that they've added new gameplay around megaships for additional options for pirates. Another question: can markets be updated to attract people to anarchy systems for bigger profits, encouraging more risk for everyone involved? The answer is this already happens to a degree, but we will look into increasing this. Another question then that I see a lot of people actually frequently ask, and I've seen it mentioned quite a few times in my comments section of these videos, and that is, how are the upcoming changes going to affect accidental fire? So the answer to this from Frontier is that the threshold for accidental fire becoming a crime is increasing, allowing more damage to occur before triggering. So basically what that means is you're going to be able to shoot at a ship quite a bit more before you actually incur a bounty. However, they're still going to keep the current threshold for accidental fire, but they're going to introduce a new crime for that, which basically just give you a fine. So you're going to have to keep shooting at it before you actually trigger the bounty. Now another question I often see people ask, and this one has been asked quite a few times in the past, and also know Frontier have answered it previously, but here we go. Will all current bounties, including dormant bounties and fines, be converted to the new system when the update is released? And what Frontier have to say to that is that there's going to be a one-time amnesty for all crimes when the changes go live. So basically, if you've got a bounty or fine now, and this is particularly going to be good for any people who have got huge bounties on their head, Frontier are going to clear the board across all players, basically resetting you back to 0 bounties and 0 fines. The reason for that is because the two systems are basically incompatible with each other, so you're going to get a free ride. There's also a few questions and answers here on wing missions that particularly stand out. Do wing missions disappear if the wing is disbanded? The answer to that: in this instance, the owner of the mission will still have the active mission, and if the wing is reformed, then they can share it with their wingmates once more. So that answer doesn't go into a particularly lot of detail, What it seems to say is that if you're in a wing and you're in the middle of a mission and you get a disconnect or something like that, or perhaps more specifically, if the wing itself is disbanded, then the mission will disappear. And this means that players who are not the mission owner basically won't be able to complete it until the mission owner comes back. Another somewhat related question is, if you leave the wing halfway through the mission, what happens when completing the mission for each commander? So the answer to that is, if that you're not part of a wing when the mission is completed, you won't receive any of the rewards. Also, if you leave a wing mission or leave a wing when you're doing a wing mission and you've got some cargo in your hold that's wing mission related, then you will incur a fine for having that cargo. Another nice snippet here is, do wingmates need to be in the same system in order to share a mission? And the answer to that is no. So here's a question about the chieftain. I've seen this asked quite a lot in the YouTube comments sections right here. And that is the chieftain capable of carrying a ship-launched fighter? And the answer to that is no, unfortunately. So that's just a small selection of questions from the massive list posted by Frontier over on their forums. And if you do want to go and check the rest out, and I highly recommend you do, I'll put a link in the video description below. So as you know, there's a whole load of damaged stations out there, many of them now going currently under repair, and I think it's somewhere in the region of 12 now or thereabouts. And what's more, the resources to get these back online is really huge, so none of them are so far back online. So then this is where Operation IDA comes in, or Operation IDA. This is basically a loose-knit group of players who feel that the infrastructure out in the Pleiades is not really up to scratch as it is, and that we're all the worse for some of these stations going offline, so they really want to get some of them back online, and they're starting with the Oracle. They've already made tremendous progress on this, and it's starting to look like it will be indeed possible to get the station back online. So if you're at all interested in helping out with this, then you can see a link below in the video description that will take you to a forum thread that gives you all the details you're going to need to get yourself involved. Before the open beta for Chapter 1 of Beyond begins on Thursday, Frontier are doing one more live stream, which is taking place tomorrow at 7 PM UK time. They're going to be covering changes to the engineers amongst other things, so that's going to be well worth taking a look at. Now, in the previous live streams, one from last week on Thursday in particular, Commander Cola 2 made a particularly interesting observation on the galaxy map. Now, keep in mind this is a dev build, and so may not necessarily translate to the final game when it arrives for us, but you can see here on the Allegiance tab, there's now 2 new allegiances, Thargoids and Guardians. So players of course are speculating wildly on exactly what this means. Does it mean that the Guardians have made a return? Does it mean that both the Guardians and Thargoids are going to have bases out there, with us gaining the ability to interact with them in the same way that we can with other alliances? Well, the truth is, we just don't know. There's no information about this, and it's quite possible that this may not make it into either the beta or the final game. But if it does, what I'd speculate is that it's quite a bit simpler than that, and what this will allow us to do is see both Thargoid bases as well as Guardian ruins on the galaxy map. And this would be pretty nice, as they're quite hard to find as it is without any external references. But then again, who knows, this could be absolutely anything. But in either event, it's a great observation there by Commander Cola. That then brings us to an end of this episode of 3304. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time.